Alright, in our last video we talked about how to use reference angles to find trig values, and those were values kind of like this one that are not on the unit circle, but instead of angles like we had last time, now they're going to give us ordered pairs and find the trig values with them, and these ordered pairs do not show up on your unit circle. So here's how this is going to work. Each one of these problems, when they give you an ordered pair, all you have to do is draw a triangle. The issue is this won't be just, hey, here's a triangle, let's have some fun. No, we need to first draw the coordinate plane. We need to figure out first what quadrant, here we go again, what quadrant 3, -4 would be in. Well, 3, -4 would be a positive x value, a negative y value would be somewhere down here. The way you draw the triangle is to connect that dot you just made with the origin, and just like a reference angle goes to the x-axis, your other part of the triangle also goes up or down to the x-axis to create your right triangle. From now, you can fill in some values. The x value was 3. The y value is -4. That negative is important. You're going down. -4. That's big. To find the hypotenuse, well, you're just using Pythagorean theorem. So 3 squared plus -4 squared. Notice I put that in parentheses because when your calculator tries to do it, you might screw up if you don't have -4 in parentheses. So 9 plus 16 gives you 25 for c squared, so the hypotenuse is 5. And now here's really easy. Theta, where the angle is always at the origin. You can now do SOHCAHTOA. So sine, we say it's the y value, that's only when it's on the unit circle, only when the hypotenuse is 1. You got to be thinking this as SOHCAHTOA, meaning opposite over hypotenuse for sine. So sine should be -4/5. Cosine should be adjacent over hypotenuse, so 3/5. And tangent is opposite over adjacent, so -4/3. When we do the flips, so -5/4 now, +5/3, and -3/4. And we should check, we're in quadrant 4. All students take calculus. In quadrant 4, the only thing that should be positive is cosine. And guess what? Cosine and its reciprocal secant are the only things that are positive. That's good. That's how it should be. All right, let's look at another couple examples. And we'll even just do sine, cosine, and tangent for these two. But when we draw our triangle, same way as before, I don't care that they're square roots. Yeah, it might be a little bit ugly. Who cares? We know that the x value is negative, so I'm going to the left, and my y value is positive, so I'm going up. So left and up, there's my point. I draw to the origin, I draw to the x-axis, there's my right angle, and theta is always at the origin. Now I can fill in values that I know. My x was -√2, my y was +√23. To find the hypotenuse, so -√2 squared plus √23 squared equals my hypotenuse squared. Square roots and squared are just going to cancel each other out. 2 plus 23 equals c squared. Hey, we're going to get 5 for our hypotenuse there yet again. So now I can fill in my values. I have sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. And this one I'll have to rationalize. I'll have 2 on the bottom. If I multiply two things with square roots, they both fall under the square root. So √46/2. Alright, why don't you pause the video real quick and see if you can do this one the exact same way. And make sure you double check your answers at the end, because like this one should be a -√46 because we're in quadrant 2. Sine should have been the only thing positive. So how about that? Make sure you always double check your signs at the end. Do the same thing here as you work through this problem. You should have drawn something here in quadrant 3 because both x and y are negative. Your x value of -6, your y value of -√13. When you did the Pythagorean theorem, you should have gotten your hypotenuse was 7. So as you work through these answers, I might even say ahead of time, hey, let's make sure a tangent should be the only thing that's positive here in my answer because I'm in quadrant 3. Sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Tangent would be the opposite over the adjacent. They were both negative, so negative divided by negative is what will turn into the positive that we needed to get. There you have it with using right triangles to find trig functions going through any given point.